New year, new season, new sponsors, and the 50th anniversary of Nationals.
Yeah, it is going to be one heck of a year in 2025.
It's showtime. This is The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast, and your one and only source for all things show skiing, bringing you news, knowledge, and interviews with the legends and stars of our sport. Here are your hosts, Matt Heilman and Adam Schaller.
Welcome to the Ski Show, back for another exciting season of podcasts. We have our 4th annual Ski Show Awards, and doing our best to tell stories, to bring you current news and conversations, and shine a light on the sport of show skiing that we all love. If there's topics and guests you'd like to see in 2025, we're all ears. This show is for you, our loyal show ski audience. Adam, Happy New Year to you. How you been? How are things at the Schaller household?
Things are good. Things are busy. Boys are still out. Bode went back to school, but Colby's still home on break. And, it's January, just busy with, believe it or not, water skiing stuff. I mean, There was one day I was inundated with emails and text messages, and we were talking about Worlds. We were talking about the podcast awards. We were talking about the podcast, and we were talking about the Mad City show. And I was just like,
Yep, that's the way it is. Hey, and we're sporting new hats. Thank you, by the way, to this hat courtesy of Adam Schaller. Those of you watching on YouTube, we got fancy new Ski Show hats.
Not available to the public. Sorry.
No, they're not. These are exclusives.
Exclusive.
Yeah. It's same here, man. And actually, my wife tells me I need to do more things that make money and not do the things that don't make money. So, because I'm also on IWWF meetings and NSSA meetings and all the things that don't pay a dime in this freaking life. So
yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, we do have a couple of new sponsors this year for the podcast. Saga Sports. Saga stands for Ski and Gymnastics Academy, and it's run by longtime pro John Hubda. And we also have on board this year Paul Stokes of American Family Insurance. Paul has had a long career as a professional barefooter, and he's a fantastic insurance agent.
Yeah, and of course, we have back again this year the Board Shop, sponsoring once again, and as always, Flyman Skis. Flyman Skis has all your jump skis and featherboard swivel skis at affordable prices. We're excited to have all of these sponsors with us this year, and we hope our audience supports them as well by sending them your business, because these are great people. They are us, and so do your best to support these businesses.
Matt, we are only 5 weeks away from the Ski Show Awards. Friday night at Think Tank on February 28th at Chula Vista in the Wisconsin Dells. This is the one event you guys don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale at thinktankwi.com. You can get your tickets to the award show, to the Tanks and Clinics, to the WWSF dinner on Saturday night, and you can bundle them all together and save a few bucks.
Did you say 5 weeks?
It's 5 weeks. You got everything ready to go, right?
Crazy. Yeah, right. Well, I'm working with Nick Drees on the production. We got that rolling. We got all the winners graphics done. We have a lot to do yet, though, man. We got to get the whole script going. We got to get our guest presenters. But, man, like Adam said, this is something you don't want to miss. Get your tickets, okay? We've already eclipsed the 200 mark on our way to 400 that are going to fill the room. Get your tickets to the award show. Get your tickets to Think Tank. It's going to be the weekend you do not want to miss. And for those of you who have never been to the award show, I do want to just give you a heads up. This is cocktail attire. You're going to look nice. It's going to be a blast. We have this full production. The award winners are revealed live at the show. These aren't like other awards where you already know the winner in advance. These are happening live at the award show. Super cool. Awesome video production done by Nick Drees. Music, presentations. It is something you want to make sure you're at if you're going to Think Tank this year, Friday night. You know what else will be here before we know it, Adam, too, as I think about it? The World Tournament. It is just 3 weeks after Think Tank.
Yeah, it's we're kind of getting into this whirlwind of preparation for the award show, and then, like you said, just 3 weeks after we leave for Australia for Worlds, and we're getting the crates packed up to ship them over via boat, so that needs to happen really soon. A couple of last-minute props that I had to order from Amazon, which, by the way, for our viewers, just to let you know that Amazon US and Amazon Australia are two very different things. I was just going to order it and send it to the resort from Amazon Australia, but they don't have the same stuff. It was interesting. So, FYI.
Yep, that's coming up. One thing everybody needs before heading to Australia, Adam, is insurance. And thankfully, we have a guy that can hook you up, and that's Paul Stokes with American Family Insurance.
Yeah, Paul Stokes is a well-known champion barefoot water skier. He's also one of us. He performed at Cypress Gardens, SeaWorld of Texas, and Water Ski Show, Inc. Paul continues to stay active in tow sports and is giving back to the water ski community by sponsoring and supporting teams and events with his American Family Insurance Agency.
Yeah, Paul wants to be your insurance agent, and he knows the risk of being on the water and how to protect the lifestyle that comes with that. His tagline is, get stoked, stay stoked. Stoked is the feeling of care. Get stoked is Paul's quoting process. It's really easy and simple. And stay stoked is the agency experience you can expect once you're his customer. And get this, Adam, Paul is going to donate $30 to your ski team for every person who goes through the Get Stoked quoting process. Just going through the quoting process and no commitment to buy, $30 back to your team. We're going to put the website and phone number in our show notes for you to get after that. $30 for just going through the quoting process. So get stoked and stay stoked with Stokes American Family Insurance Agency.
Awesome. That's very generous of him. Okay, Matt, time for another season of Hot Takes. You already know what mine is because we discussed it earlier last week. What do you have for us this week on Hot Takes?
So mine, given this episode and the closing of the Legoland show, my hot take is it's not. Honestly, it's really not that hot. It's pretty obvious, but
warm takes.
It is the value. We don't fully understand the value of losing professional shows on the show ski community at large. Like the value that professional shows offer sometimes goes unspoken or not talked about enough. And losing these professional shows time and again has had this impact. Because what professional shows do for our show ski sport is this. For one, it's a dream for young athletes, young skiers to want to do. Like any athlete that wants to be a professional golfer or play college basketball or whatever it is, they have that dream. And professional shows give people in our sport that dream, pushes them to be better athletes at their craft because of that. That is going away. Additionally, skiers go ski professionally, and then they most often cycle back to their amateur shows. And the amount of knowledge and skill that they learn as a professional, doing it day after day after day, and then bring back to their home clubs is immense. And that's what we're going to miss, and we're losing with losing these professional shows is what they teach people and the skills and expertise they learn along the way, and then come back to their amateur shows and they're better skiers. Professional shows make good skiers great, and you see it a lot. You see it a lot with males, particularly in the skill stuff, the freestyle jump. They go away for a year to a pro show, they come back and they're awesome. So we're gonna miss that. So that's my hot take. There's so much more to the professional shows closing than just that particular show shutting their doors. It's a bad time for show skiing all around.
Yeah, for sure. All right. My hot take.
What's yours? Yeah.
We kind of touched on this a little bit in the past, but as I was writing our show, Mad City show, by the way, Matt had to give me a deadline. I was a little lackadaisical this year. But anyway, got it done. Going through the show, writing it, looking at the act order, which we have tweaked a little bit. But my hot take is the scoring system is killing ski shows. As as I look at our show, and Mad City's as guilty as anybody. Like, the difficulty charts, and Matt, you can probably explain this better than me, but we're putting stuff out there that's high in the difficulty charts, but as I guess as a show director, you want to put the stuff out there that has the highest reward and least amount of risk. And, that's ultimately what we're doing with, where you're seeing a lot of teams now doing multiple ballet acts because of that. And I think that just is taking away the diversity of the acts that you see in a ski show. Like whatever happened to a barefoot starts act, one guy going backwards around the boat. I mean, there's just a lot of cool stuff that is being kind of left by the wayside in favor of the big numbers. And, as an announcer, I get it, but man, it's just, there's some cool stuff that I know that isn't high in the difficulty chart and that's just not included anymore. It's fun to announce. It's fun to watch. And I don't know how to address that, but that's my hot take. Matt, comments?
That is a hot take. You said the scoring system is killing our shows.
I did.
Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. So you're not wrong that if the goal of your show is to score well at a tournament, you have to walk the fine line between what will score well according to the system we have versus the creativity and diversity that you could do. Yeah. And that's tough. It is tough as a show director, right? So you want to balance that, but if you want to go play to win, if we want to win nationals this year, we have to put out 13 acts that we think are going to score, and that might involve multiple ballet lines or multiple pyramids or, those things in lieu of some other stuff that isn't scoring as well. And so it's tough. I think you're right. I think we're at an interesting point with where the scoring system is. The judges have gotten better, and there's fewer outliers in our scoring system because of the difficulty charts we're at, but it's also pigeonholing teams into doing very similar things. So I hear you.
There we go.
There you go. That's today's hot takes. One thing that's not a hot take, Adam, is Flyman Skis is back for a big 2025 season, and they have custom-made jump skis and featherboard swivel skis at affordable prices.
That's right. Their honeycomb jump skis are hitting ramps all over the world, and the featherboard swivel ski is on the water with some of the best swivel skiers on the planet. These skis are fully customizable, and they are made for skiers by skiers.
You can customize your design or pick out one of their fantastic stock designs. The choice is yours. High-level performance, unique styling, and prices you'll like. Get your skis today at flymanskis.com. That's flymanskis.com.
All right, time for today's featured interview. In what was a sad moment for the sport of show skiing, the Legoland Professional Ski Show in Winter Haven, Florida, closed its doors at the end of December. The folks at Legoland Theme Park are making some changes and updates to the park, and that does not include the continuation of the ski show. Now, that stadium has a long legacy in show skiing. It was the original Cypress Gardens show for decades and later became Legoland, continuing the tradition of amazing water ski shows. To discuss the closing of the show, the history and legacy of this great professional ski show, we have three guests with us today who were the heart and soul of that show for many years. Let's welcome to the show Don Buffa, Hunter Hanson, and Joe Sawaska.
Well, gentlemen, welcome to the show. Good to see you. Don, Joe, Hunter, thanks for being here talking about Lego. I want to start out with this. Can each of you discuss how long you've been at Legoland and or Cypress Gardens prior, how long you've been in and at that park doing what you do for a living? Don, let's start with you. How long were you there?
We took over the contract in 2017 and have been there ever since.
Yep. Okay.
I started at the Gardens. This was going to be my 20th year skiing professionally. Started there in 2005 and around January sometime. And then I was out in SeaWorld San Antonio, Texas from 2009 to 14. And then I did a stint in 16. And then for Lego, it was 2015. I went back and I was working with WSSI for those 2 years, 15 and 17. And then when Don took over, I stayed with.
And I guess for me, I started at Cypress Gardens under Stars of Florida from 2006 to 2008, and then ventured up north to the Tommy Bartlett Show. Made my way back in 2017, and was there until 2024.
Wow.
Should I edit mine or what? I didn't know we were doing our full resume here.
Yeah, I mean, so Don, you have such a long legacy there. Talk about that prior to, Stars of Florida taking over Legoland show. How many years had you been there in total?
Well, I started at the Gardens January of '88, part-time, and that's all I skied was part-time. It was usually Saturdays and Sundays and sometimes on Wednesdays. Then it closed in 2003, went back again in 2005 to 2009, it closed again, and then started back again with Lego 2017 until 2024.
How did Legoland come to be? Talk to us a little bit about that, for listeners that don't know, when did the show before Legoland close, and when did the Legoland Ski Show open up? How did that all come about?
And even back, Don, you just mentioned when Cypress Gardens closed. Kind of talk us through that transition of that show from Cypress Gardens all the way through Legoland.
Well, the Gardens closed in 2003. Then a guy named Kent Disher, who owned Wild Adventure in Valdosta, Georgia, bought the place and took it over. And he was in the process of developing the park. He built the water park. He did a lot of what's presently there. Lego's done a lot recently, but when Lego took it over, it was basically existent the way Kent left it. But in 2000, I think it was 2004, Florida had 4 huge hurricanes in a matter of 6 weeks. So Kent, in the process of rebuilding the park, got hammered with the hurricanes. And basically the bottom line is the insurance he thought was in place. He was continuing to move forward with getting the park open, which he did. But then when it all came down to it, I believe the insurance company didn't pay but a small percentage. I don't remember the figures. It was in the millions of dollars, but he ended up being short $8 or $10 million at the end of the thing when it was all said and done. So, and that finally caught up with him, and that's why he ended up stepping out of the park about 2000. I'm not real sure, probably 2008, and then it was taken over by the Baker Leisure Group to manage under bankruptcy policies and procedures, and it kind of limped its way through there, and then finally closed 2009, and then Lego ended up taking over 2010, I believe. They took over the park.
That's when they announced it.
Yeah, and then they called in. They went through the bidding process as far as the show that they were going to do there, and so I went in with the proposal, and there was a couple of girls from England there that were doing the vetting process with the proposals and questioning vendors and whatever else, and they were all excited about the show they were going to do, and they didn't really have anything other than a video that they had in a show in England. So they showed me the video of what they planned on doing, and they didn't have any skiing in it. And I said, "What about the skiing?" And they said, "Well, we're not going to do a ski show. We're going to do a show, and we're going to have one character ride over the ramp." And I basically kind of reached over, took my proposal back off the table, and told them I wasn't interested in doing anything like that, but they would have plenty of vendors that would be interested in doing it. So basically walked away from that, and then it was taken over, and it migrated to a ski show after that. When it started the show, I don't know when Gary ended up doing that show in 2010, I believe.
I believe it started in 12.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not real sure when it started back. And then we ended up taking it over again in 2017. They wanted to make some changes.
Yeah, I believe Gary World Shows or Water Ski Show Inc. took over in 12. Nick Lyman was running it the last 2 years I was there. I forget when he started it, but yeah, Gary had it for 5 years before Stars of Florida took over.
It's interesting hearing that transition and what that was like over the years. So there's been moments where the show has disappeared for a time, and you guys have been fortunate enough to kind of weather some of those storms. What are some of the, for you guys at this particular closing, when were you informed of this? What reasoning was given for ending the ski show? Can you talk us through this particular closing? Because it obviously is a sad day for all of you and for all of show skiing. When were you told, and what reasoning were you given?
I'll tell you my part of it, and then the guys, Hunter and Joe, can tell their part of it. But I was at the shop working. I have another business also, and Linda called up, and I guess the head of entertainment contacted Linda. She doesn't like really chatting with me much, but so she called Linda and told Linda that they weren't going to continue the ski show in 2025, and that they didn't have a budget for it. And that was the only explanation that we got. And to date, that's the only communication we've had as far as the existence of the ski show there.
Yeah, you guys got the call, you said, on Wednesday afternoon. This past year, the show has only been, it was a Thursday through Monday show. So we were all off on Tuesday, Wednesday. So our Monday we came in, and that's when Don and Linda informed us. I should have knew something was up. Nothing good happens when Linda comes in. We got all right. Nothing good happens when Linda comes in on a Thursday. Linda always comes in on Fridays. Thursday she came in for COVID and told us about COVID. So should have known something was up when they came in together on a Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that coming at all? Were there signs? No.
We are actually getting approved to bring back the jet skis and stuff like that for the show. So I was blindsided.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would probably think about or that might have sent up a red flag is just the insurance costs. With every injury that you have, obviously you're paying the price somewhere along the line. You're going to pay for the insurance, and the workers' comp just kept creeping up, and it would have been probably close to $200,000 this year.
Oh.
So it's a lot of money. It's a big expense, and it's a big undertaking. I think the only way to probably kind of protect yourself is to kind of limit the people and what they do, and we started doing that a little bit in 2024. I hated to do that, but it was just one of those things. It's either potentially open yourself up to exploding costs of insurance, or just push everybody back to where just you practice what you're doing in the show. But that's not really where I come from. So that was not a good thing to do, or I didn't have any pleasure in doing that. But that's just something that would probably buy you a little bit more time. It's still going to catch up with you. You're still going to have those incidental accidents that happen. And I would say the majority of our accidents probably happen in practice than they do in the show itself.
Yeah. Actually, 99% of them were probably in the practice setting and everything. We never really had to do a in-show rescue or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a challenge, right? Like, you got all these young kids that are hungry to ski, the lure of being at a professional show and able to ski all day and do your thing and learn new things, and they're together with the best in the world. But then from the business standpoint, you're like, dude, you can't do that. You're going to get hurt, or it's going to cost us money. Like, so that I can imagine that was a tough tug of war.
Yeah. And we always encourage them to go out and take advantage of the free gas and the lake and do that all the time. So it was hard to hold them back, but also push them to go out and get better at their craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a hard deal, like restricting everybody or whatever, but I was kind of low on the totem pole. So when all the guys would come ask me if they could go try something new, it's like, hold on, there's a reason why you're asking me. Go ask somebody else. So yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, I think we're both. I think all three of us, and even Dibs is included. Yeah, we were all in that same situation where we wanted skiers to come down and learn and be better at their craft. But again, it just came down to insurance, and we even put Pete in charge of the new people when they came in. People, Pete would strip them down and say, okay, where are we at? I do a flip. Well, you don't do a flip that's going to last you very long. And Pete was really good at, I'm not sure, I think it was Luke that he basically started all over again. And I can say pretty much anybody that comes from a club, he's going to start all over again. And Pete was really good at that. Luke was landing with his legs far apart, so Pete got this soft Lego brick and put it between his knees and said, okay, you're not going to do anything until you can land with this between your knees. So, we went through the process of trying to keep everybody safe. And I think for the most part, we did that, especially since we put Pete in charge of that. He was real good at doing that kind of thing. But getting people and just turning them loose, that never happened. And Luke probably didn't jump until, I don't know, Hunter or Joe can probably say probably a month or a month and a half before even.
Wow. Yeah, we held him out for a little bit, but like Don was saying, we were getting him to where he could last longer and everything, and training these guys to not slam their body every time, learn how to land properly where you can do 3 shows a day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's pretty much anybody that showed up. Nobody's, very, very few. There were some, but very few just stepped right into a show.
Yeah. Huh. What were some of the challenges for you guys in working under a larger theme park, a corporate entity? Were there challenges that you encountered in working with that larger theme park entity?
This podcast isn't long enough.
This is going to be a 2-part series.
Yeah, it might be a 3.
I'll let Joe and Hunter start, and then I'll sweep up at the end.
Well, I guess my first thing, and probably Hunter's too, is when you're requesting, additional backup from the park, whether it be maintenance or whatnot, you'd send an email and then it's like you don't hear anything back and you have to follow up a few times. So there's just not, for me, there was not really enough support to the ski show when we needed it.
Yeah, just it's with the corporate, like just working out in Texas too with World Entertainment, with SeaWorld, getting to know how they kind of ran it. It night day difference between SeaWorld and Lego, but like the big thing that was common between them is working with people that have no clue what water skiing is or show skiing is, and having to get everything squared down to a basic explanation so everybody's on the same page and teaching them. So that was like the biggest challenge, is just informing them on what we do and why we can't do it certain ways. And then the aspect of doing the emails and stuff, just trying to get the general maintenance or stuff done like that, that's taken a while. That was always a headache.
Yeah, and I think when Hunter mentions taking a while, that's a long while. I had a meeting with the new general manager, and I'll say this too, and which should say a little bit of something, is they're in their 4th general manager since 2017, and there was 1 year that was COVID. So in 6 years, they've had 4 general managers. I'm not sure what that means, but it's a little curious. But I had a meeting with her and the head of entertainment, and Linda was there too. And I had Hunter and Joe and Dibs go through and let me know the jet skis. We had 2 jet skis in the show, and and one backup. Then we have the flyboard with another backup. So basically we have 5 jet skis. So when any one of them goes down, we just put the other one in, and it's seamless. It just keeps moving. But at any given time, all 5 were out, and they were throwing a code. And being a third-party vendor, if it's something throws a code, we can't continue to work it, because if something were to happen to it, and there was an active code, that's on us. We don't own the vehicles; they do. So it's theirs. So they're responsible for getting them the red tag. The guys. Joe's our safety guy, so he would red tag them, or Hunter or Dibbs would red tag them, and then they would supposedly call somebody to come in and check it. And time after time, we've told them, it's like, if it's nothing, let's get a certified mechanic to basically tell us, look, it's nothing wrong with it. You're good to go, and put it in writing, and we'll just keep moving. But I went through with this meeting, and we found out that 40% of the time we didn't have any jet skis in the show. And that's over a 3-year period of time. And some of these are just clearing a code, or just saying, it's a wire, because we did them for V-wakes and whatever else. And we're thinking a lot of it was just a wire that came loose. But they never really grasped that simple little fix. And so it became an agonizing wait. And for us, and you guys too, that if something's out of your show, as integral as the jet skis are, or the flyboard is, or the pontoon, which had been out for over a year, that's the quality of the show too, right?
Yeah.
So, and just dealing with that, just dealing with that, and it was evident in 2017. I think when we got there, we knew right off the bat that there was issues that they just never could grab a hold of and fix.
Sounds to me like they tolerated the show, but they didn't really support the show. Is that
certainly at the end?
Sum it up? Yeah. Okay.
I think the entertainment department struggled with it, because they were the ones that were tasked with taking care of everything. And again, I'm not so sure an entertainment department should be in charge of fixing something or scheduling something to be fixed.
Yeah.
But again, in 2017, Hunter and I talked when we first took it over in 2017. They don't have, to our knowledge and talking to people, they don't have interdepartmental meetings. How do you not have meetings with entertainment and maintenance to know who's doing what? So that's confusing too. So again, I think the general managers or whoever's in charge of Lego just got to get it all together and pull it and make it all happen. But when you start taking it's the only live show in the park. That's it. Yeah. That's all they have.
Yep.
Good.
Oh, I was just saying, like, for the supporting, you guys all been to the park. Barely had any signage up for the ski show. Mm-hmm. So, like, we've talked about this in the past. We all know going to a lake and you're going to see a ski show, go towards the lake. The average person that comes there, they don't know where they need to go for the water ski show. They're just there to have a good time. And so there wasn't really, like, supportage, I felt like, in the park. Guests going ski show this way, you had to look on the app and everything. So just like little things like that too.
Yeah.
Are they going to end up doing anything with the stadium? Like, are they doing some type of show without water skiing, or are they just not doing anything?
Technically they can't do anything to the gardens and the stadium, because Florida put both those things under the Historical Protection Act back in 2003. Good. So the stadiums will be sitting there. It depends if they decide to utilize them. They'll utilize.
The county owns them.
They utilize.
And the
them
county
for
owns the stadium and the gardens.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So for like the fireworks shows and stuff like that, they use them then. But on a consistent basis, they might just sit.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting working with a larger corporate entity that doesn't seem invested in what you do, and certainly doesn't have the passion that you guys have for the product, and then that strains the entire line of communications. That's interesting. Thanks for sharing all that. Adam, before we dive deeper with these guys, let's chat about one of our new sponsors, Saga Sports. Saga stands for Ski and Gymnastics Academy and is owned and run by longtime professional John Hovda.
Yeah, John spent a lot of time skiing and training with Matt May and Dave Reinhardt. He helped guys like Paul O'Connor and Dan Benz make their first mobs. Saga does lessons in all types of water skiing, from just getting up on two skis to back barefoot, wakeboarding inverts, sky skiing, or anything in show skiing.
That's right. And Saga, is working with the Future of Jump Is Now, and they also do indoor trainings on trampolines. So you guys see young guns like Dallas Hovda, the Fedorowitzes. These guys have been getting after it with Saga Sports on the trampoline work. Trampoline work is so good for freestyle jump athletes. You get a ton of reps without the hard falls.
Yeah, summer lessons on the water are around the Green Bay area or Crivets, but they can do clinics at your home site as well. Saga Sports will have a trampoline at Think Tank again this year for training, so make sure you stop by. You can learn more at Saga Sports at sagasports.us. That's sagasports.us.
All right. Well, we've talked about the not so pleasant moments, but what are some of your favorite memories of Legoland, the show, the recent past? Joel, let's start with you. What do you got?
There's always so many. It's like every day there's something new going on that's kind of just, it's hard to just bring one thing to the top. But I mean, the last show was pretty cool. Not to say it like that, but it's like there was so much support from the community, and the breakwater was packed, the stadiums were packed, people were screaming the whole show. It's just that feeling. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One of mine. I have a couple. The 5-man one ski front.
Yeah.
That I literally came into work, told, hey, you're going 3 spot. I hadn't done a one ski front in, I don't know, like 3-4 years since Texas. And yeah, we go out there and we do it. It's one and done. We just stick it and come in. That was a fun one. Joe was in that one, and Dibbs, and was it Pete and Strode? Joe were the other two. I can't remember the other
I'm not
guys.
exactly sure. Maybe Noah.
Yeah, Noah might have been in there.
Well, the 6-man was followed after the 5-man. I think Hunter's referring to the 5-man.
Yeah, because I was in the 5-man. I wasn't in the 6-man. And then on holidays, we would always try to do some stuff fun. Like, I would always try to organize, like, either a potluck where we'd bring in desserts or something if Lego was providing food. But then we would always do, like, a relay race. Split up the team into, like, 3 teams and, like, do a skiing relay race. Or we would do all ski where we all just go out and take a fun hot lap around the lake. That was always fun with that. And then all my 500s actually happened at Lego. I think I got like 4 different times I hit the 500 club, but
That's amazing.
I never hit 500 until 2017. That was, I was always chasing it, and I finally got it at Lego. So those are pretty cool.
Okay, back up. What's the 500 club?
500 consistent jumps in a show without a fall, no equipment breaks, nobody takes you out, you make it back to stage and everything like that.
500 in a row, Adam.
500 in a row?
Yeah. Don has the board.
You're talking, most of these guys are doing flips, hellies, and gainers too, and that's one of those things where, we're talking about new people coming in, and even if a guy does a flip, usually after about a month, he'll completely lose them, and then he'll get them back. And then when he gets them that second time, that's when he's there. That's one level, and then the 500 club becomes a whole different level.
Yeah, it's a whole different level. Oh man,
it's just the hardness. It's cold. It's rough. The boat's going 40 miles an hour instead of 34. Yeah. Whatever happens, a rope breaks, somebody takes you out, you start over. There's no excuses. You fell. You're in the water. If you're in the water, you start all over again.
Yep.
And that's just an accomplishment. And
yeah, it is.
And I think, Hunter mentioned, I'm glad you mentioned that, Hunter, because it didn't cross my mind, but that's absolutely one of those things. And the funny thing is too, is when a guy hits, I'm not real sure, maybe 450, everything becomes quiet.
Oh yeah.
Nobody,
It's like
nobody
a no hitter,
doesn't-
right?
You don't talk about the
you don't talk to
number.
them. No.
No,
It just
everybody
becomes
else
quiet.
knows, and it just, it's a hard feeling.
Everybody's aware of it. Everybody there knows what's going on. It's just something that's not talked about. And that's just kind of one of those things that just happen.
Really superstitious. I would do like certain things every single show.
Yeah.
And a couple
Yeah,
of other things too is my memories of the guard. Well, Lego is just the new guys coming in, and just a lot of people don't even know what they're stepping into. They've never been there, and there's some of them over the last couple of years like, well, this isn't what I thought it was. It's like, well, what did you think it was? Well, I didn't know how the boats. A lot of them. Do I bring my own skis? Do I bring my own helmet? And Linda does all the hiring. So she's versed at it, but I don't think anything sinks in until you walk into the stadium there and realize what it actually is. And then you realize, secondly, that you get paid to do that. So and just all of what Joe and Hunter mentioned, and just the fact that the new people coming in it revitalizes the place. And that was always fun, an experience, yeah, for sure.
Is that part of what makes this closing so difficult? Is you got that young energy, as young kids that want to ski for a living, and it's gone.
Yeah. This past fall, we had a really good set of new guys that came in, or not new guys, but just a set of guys that were in there. They were wanting to ski, but the morale, like shows and like hanging out, was high too. Yeah. Not just them wanting to go out ski. The whole group was a really good machine working this fall. So.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't want to keep butting in on Joe or Hunter, but a lot of what happens there too, there's role players, and the role player becomes a personality. And when you get the right personalities together, it all clicks. And I think with this group that's been there the last 5 or 6 months, there were the right role players that made it all work. There was that clown, personality-wise. I don't know, it just worked. And just, running through the hallways and just playing games and playing jokes on people, the girls against the guys and whatever else, and some other things Joe can talk about later. But there's some other things that just make it all work. Yeah. So and this last group it was destined to keep right on rolling, because it was a good group of guys.
And they were talented. These guys did the quad gainer, the fourth time that they ever did it. Yeah. They were all in their teenage. None of them were out of their 20s or in their 20s. They're all in their teens.
That's amazing.
And they did it multiple times. I mean, they were doing it in the show, or like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I'd like to get each one of yours opinion on, what effect does this closing have on the entire sport of show skiing?
Well, I think, I don't know, I kind of think it puts a lid over it. It's like, for me, it was like the amateur team was cool, but there was also like that pinnacle of you want to rise above and be, the better performer to join that elite group and show off your talents. So now it's like, it's going to school without looking for a job kind of thing, I guess. So yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking. I feel bad for like the younger generation, the guys that, want to ski there or would eventually, but now it's just kind of, beyond our decision or choice that they can't do that.
Yeah.
So
it's like there's nothing above the amateur club anymore.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You only have a handful of options to go out and do it. I don't think it's going to hurt the water or show ski industry as a whole. Like, amateur thrives so much over the years. Professional is kind of drained off, but it's like Joe was saying, it just, for me, when I was growing up, I wanted to strive to be a professional water skier. Like, I made this my career. This is what I paid my bills with the last 20 years. So just to have like a strive, the amateurs will keep doing the tournaments, but you don't have that next level to keep on having that endless summer. So I think the industry will still thrive, but it's just a bummer for make a living out of it, like a living out of it. It's just part-time jobs now.
Yeah, I'd agree with the guys pretty much with what they said too. I don't know that it's really going to, because there's going to be at some point that everybody's going to, nobody will remember what it really means. You know, they won't really understand the 500. I don't think you'll ever see a 500 guy hit it, or a guy hit a 500 club again. It's just that hardness that it comes with doing, you know, I don't know how many shows we did a year, probably 800, 900 shows a year. And that's just going to go away, and just you'll still do the shows. The clubs will still do their shows. I don't think that'll be affected in any way.
So, big picture, what do you think is the reason pro shows have been fading over the last 10 or 15 years? You know, time and again, you hear about a different show closing. This podcast, since it's been alive, we've done about the closing of Holiday Park, the closing of Tommy Bartlett, and the closing of Legoland. What do you guys think is the reason for the decline and the decline of those pro shows? What's the reason?
I think it's probably just cost.
Money.
You know, when we took over the show in 2017, and until, you know, last month, I don't know how much we elevated the pay, but I know 1 year alone we jumped it up $30 a day. And then there was another year it was up 30%, and so we just kept, because when I walked in, just like when I walked in before, and there was another situation at the Gardens, the pay wasn't that well, and it's like I tell people, it's like a college education to come ski here professionally. You know, you just don't walk in and learn a heli. And that's what Lego couldn't quite understand. Well, let's just get a bunch of jumpers and do a show. It's like, well, and do what for 24 minutes? Just jump?
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, jumping. You know, you can only take so much of anything. So it's one of those things where I think I kind of lost my train of thought there. Where were we at? I'm sorry, guys.
Well, so I was going to ask. Why do these? So a lot of pro shows have been affiliated with a larger theme park. Okay, SeaWorlds, and they're part of that. So one, I think would you agree or disagree? A standalone pro show, and it's like Tommy Bartlett, is probably harder these days. Like to stand on its own as not part of a big theme park. But two, why do the theme parks not view the show as an amenity, as something that's needed and awesome and a draw to the public? That's, you know, probably what we all struggle to understand.
Yeah. I think the attendance has a lot to do with the decline of it, because even when I was out in Texas with World Entertainment, we weren't packing the stands like we did back in the day. And also with the average park goer, our attention spans are so short. We need to have high action the whole time. And so the theme really needs to be there. And we kind of lost the theme shows from back in the early or late 90s, early thousands, because ever since I started skiing professionally, we never really had a theme. It's always kind of been like a generic water ski show. So you're not getting that interaction with the crowd. Yeah. So they're not coming to the shows. And then you also need to change it up a bit. So if you do get repeat customers, that it's a different show. So like the interaction with the show is kind of, in my opinion, went down since we weren't doing the intricate themes. Don could probably touch more on that, because he was with the Gardens when they were doing all those intricate themes, and they were packing the stadiums back then.
Yeah, the attendance, I could say, you know, even Joe can tell you and Hunter can tell you, the attendance at Lego was down, and they even said that their attendance in 2024 was down. And I can say the tourists in Florida, you know, I drive a lot, and I don't see I-4 as packed as it normally should be at this time of the year. It's busy, but, you know, it's not near what it used to be. But
Is that economy? Is that inflation? Is that like it costs a family of 4 to go to Legoland? It costs them $500, and then all your food and drink and travel. Like, are we just generally seeing a decline in that spending by the consumer? Why aren't pro stadiums packing the stands?
Gee, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I think a lot of Lego's situation is just like the Gardens is you're 45 minutes off of.
I was gonna say location, because if Disney had a ski show, they would probably have it packed every time, because look at the numbers that go to Disney every day compared to the numbers that we would get in the park.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And it's all marketing too. And when this show just opened in Lego, just after COVID, there were billboards in downtown Tampa. I don't know if there were any in Orlando. And then just recently, 3 years ago, I believe it was 3 years ago, each Lego and Merlin had told each Legoland park and around the world to come up with something that makes you unique. And Florida basically said the ski show. And that opened up some windows as far as, money, as far as marketing and whatever else, because that's the draw. That's the big thing. But the funny thing was nothing happened.
Yeah.
There was no marketing. There was no nothing.
Yeah, they didn't push the show to advertise it more, to be the unique thing that we had to offer to the public.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Do you think
interesting. I was going to say, just quickly, think about that. Like, I think about Joe's time at Tommy Bartlett. Tommy Bartlett in Wisconsin, when I drive up the interstate from Chicago all the way to the Dells, there's probably 50 different Tommy Bartlett billboards on that interstate in its heyday, in its time, promoting the show.
Yeah. Joe was on the billboards doing a giant roll on the sky.
Yeah.
I was putting the billboards up.
You were. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of billboards. We called it sign work, and that was another fun part of that job too. But like you said, marketing was all out there, and then it just didn't have it.
Yeah.
Do you think we can see pro shows make a comeback?
I think that would be tough.
It would be tough.
Initial investment.
I think, I would think if it was well crafted in a way where you would sit down and figure out some things. Lego struggled with writing a good show for that venue. That's a bitch of a venue. Every 4 o'clock show you're looking into the sun. And if we speak for that venue only, it's a arduous task to make something happen there. But if you write a good show and you could probably make something happen, but then again, they basically took the tires out and replaced it with something that doesn't work. So it's basically, it's a turkey shoot at this point, because, Hunter, Joe, and I being there as long as we've been there, and some of the girls that have been there for so long, we see waves roll in from out in the lake, and we don't see that normally. That's unusual. Yeah. Usually the tires would break up. So just simply seeing wave come, straight into the stadium, it's like that draws your attention. It's like, well, I'm not used to seeing that. So there's a lot of things that would do it, but the Lego or the Gardens venue there would be tough, just because the weather, again, the tires were just a massive plus. And when that went away, they spent $100 and some thousand on something that doesn't work.
Is that breakwater just going to sit there? Is there plans for that?
No, they're not planning on adding anything to it.
Yeah.
They're not planning on selling any of the equipment either.
Huh.
So
is there any hope at all? Like because we've been through these conversations when the Gardens closed, and then when there's all the transition, and time and again, the show has come back in some way, shape, or form. Is this the end, or is there some hope, some silver lining that we'll see, maybe not in 25, but maybe in 26 or beyond, a water ski show in that stadium again?
I could see them bringing back, I don't know, Don would be able to touch more on it, but doing short stint shows, kind of like what World Entertainment does with SeaWorld, where it's over the summer during their summer holiday special for 4th of July, like a week show or something like that. And then they do Brick or Treat, and they could do night shows. I could see a show more likely coming back for short little stints throughout the year for special occasions than being a full year-round show.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and we pitched it to it several times. The three of us have sat down several times and tried to, talk to Lego. Let's do a night show. It'd be a nice segue right into the fireworks.
It'd be perfect.
People could come down and see a show and then just segue right into the fireworks, but it's a no. Basically, no thought, no nothing.
Yeah,
but you could do a night show for literally nothing.
Oh yeah, they had my wife and I, Lindsay, took our kids to their Brick or Treat, and they had an awesome firework and drone show, like 500 drones. The drones made a witch, and she could be the announcer for the show, and then you could have a quick 15-20 minute action-packed show with the fireworks there. It would be perfect to do during their Brick or Treat time.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have to have an announcer. You could have your announcer as the drones, and it's all audio for that, and you just need the skiing staff.
That'd be cool. Like SeaWorld Texas right now, it's the night show, right? And it's
With the
high
concert.
energy,
Yeah,
and it's a live band. And it's fast, but it's at night, and the whole crowd converges there. Like, we took our family to Disney, and you go to Epcot, and everyone converges at night on that lagoon because there's a show of some sort. So, like, a water ski show could fit in some regard at these places if they had some visionary thinking and listened to great people like you guys.
And then you get your crowds, too, because, like you said, Texas, they all go towards the stadium for that show at night. Disney, they do the island.
Yep.
For the Brick or Treat, both stadiums and the lawn were packed. So like you could get your attendance. You just have to think about what you're doing with it and take some ideas from people.
Yeah.
Don, will Stars of Florida be doing more road shows now?
Yeah, I would like to. There's a lot of factors that come into play in the Middle East. A lot of the stuff that we've done has been in the Middle East, and a lot of that reflects on the fighting that's going on there. So if they come to some kind of a peace treaty thing for any length of time, I think that would open up a lot of things. Just the fighting, no matter where it is over there, they just seem to all just shut down and just let it all ride out. And I understand that part of it, but over the years, Stars have done a lot of stuff in that area, and a lot of it just goes away. And that's where some of the money is in order to fly a group of 10 or 16 people out there to do a show. So I did get some inquiries last year. So I think it's probably going to heat up a little bit more. And there's been a little bit of shortage of skiers, I think, that I trust to take on the road. I think it's the people that skied at Lego. Again, we talked about how hard they are. They see a ramp, they just do it and make it happen. They just get used to it. They adjust, and taking anybody that's a little bit less than that, I don't know, is something that definitely have to consider. But I did turn down a couple last year that it's at Nationals weekend, and I'm thinking there's no way I'm going to get anybody. Yeah. It was in Egypt, and it was basically, do I tell them I can do the show? And it's somebody we did a show for, so it was no, but I was afraid that, is everybody going to Nationals? So I kind of hold off on that. And now with Lego being gone, that my plan is to probably try to keep going with it and keep it moving. I think I'm up to 86 trips in the last 30 years or whatever it was. And I've always wanted to get to 100, thinking that nobody would surpass that. So I still got work to do, and we'll see how it goes. But the plan is to hopefully do something. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Don and Joe and Hunter, thank you guys. Like, Don, you saying that you're going to do more road shows, that's awesome. Like, thank you for keeping professional show skiing alive and keeping it rolling as best you can. Our hearts go out to you guys and everyone involved with Legoland and the closing of that show. When that news came out, it's just, we were heartbroken for all of you, because that's your livelihood and the time and effort and passion and love you put in to that show and that stadium over the years has been so much and so deep. And so our hearts go out to you. Thank you guys for telling your story, being on this podcast, and letting us share with all our listeners all about the highlights and lowlights of Legoland. So we appreciate you guys being here today.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks for having us.
You got it. Adam, that was good.
Yeah, a couple of points. It is as sad as it is, but I am encouraged that you've got, three guys like this that have been around the sport forever, that have great ideas. They know what draws people in. They know what works. You just got to get somebody to listen. And I think, as kind of Hunter alluded to, maybe you could get some of these short-term stint shows, short-term, shows back in, night show every now and again. And, maybe we slowly build back up to getting a pro show back up and running again, but who knows? Yep. And then the second thing is this whole 500 club thing absolutely blows my mind. Talk about a whole nother level. I'm thinking about our amateur club, and if we just had a 5 club, I think that would be impressive. But 500 is just unbelievable.
Yep, the guys who have done that over the years, so impressive, so cool. I always hold out hope that pro shows are going to stick around in some way, shape, or form, but maybe, the cost and the interest from these bigger theme parks and corporate entities just isn't there. They don't have the same passion for the sport that we have. And so who knows? A reminder, our next episode is also going to be on Legoland, but it's going to be called The Voices of Legoland. And we're going to put out some information, a call-in line for any folks that skied at Legoland at any time to call in and share a memory or a story from your time there. We want to keep them probably to a minute in length. We'll have some criteria, and then we're going to compile all those on our next episode. It'll be The Voices of Legoland. We'd love to hear from all of the recent past and former skiers of Legoland on that episode.
And a reminder that the Ski Show Awards is Friday of Think Tank, February 28th. Get your tickets now. Please order your tickets now. We need to know how many people are going to be there. I need to know how early I need to show up on Friday because I have to set up 400 plus chairs. So get your tickets now. February 28th, Friday of Think Tank. It will be the premier event, and it's going to be awesome.
Yep. Thank you to our sponsors, Flyman Skis, custom-made jump skis, featherboard, swivel skis. Get yours at flymanskis.com. The Paul Stokes American Family Agency. Great to have Paul on board. He wants to be your insurance agent, and you get $30 back to your club just by going through Paul's Get Stoked quoting process. Just get a quote, $30 to your club. And thank you to Saga Sports, John Hovda, training up kids, water ski lessons, trampoline lessons. Make sure you check out Saga Sports at sagasports.us.
And thanks again to all of our listeners and viewers. This is Matt and Adam, and this is The Ski Show.
Thank you for listening to The Ski Show, the ultimate show ski podcast with Matt and Adam. If you have questions or ideas for the show, find us on social media or message us at theskishowpodcast@gmail.com.